What is astrology and why should you learn it? Many of you have, probably most of you, have heard of perhaps a daily horoscope article that says if you're born on a certain day, a certain month, then this is your fortune for the day, it's going to be great, you're going to be blessed, and so on. You may have also come across something that says if your sun sign is this, then this month's going to be great for you. You may have come across something that says typing your partner's birthday and your birthday to see how compatible you are. You may also come across something that compares different signs and says how compatible one sign is with another. But the issue is they're mainly going off of your sun sign, and there's way more to astrology than just your sun sign. So, what is astrology really? Well, first of all, for those who may not know, where the planets are in the sky, where the sun, moon, planets is in the sky, will basically have an effect on you based off of what angle it is to you at any certain time. And that also includes when you're born. So there's sun, moon, planets, houses, degrees, aspects, asteroids, virtual points. You can go on and on. All of this has to be taken into account. You can't just focus on, let's say, your sun sign, which is what most people are familiar with. You have to take all of it into account. Now, by taking all of this into account, there are great benefits to knowing this stuff, to knowing astrology. It can show you your strengths, your weaknesses, your characteristics that you were born with. It can give you better insight to why you are the way you are. You can actually make plans for the future based off of it. And you'll know how better to accomplish the goals that you want to get to in life. And many more. Many more things, including medical astrology. So you will probably encounter Western tropical astrology, Vedic or sidereal astrology, Chinese astrology. There's a bunch more stuff. I discuss Western astrology. That's what I do. So basically, where you want to start at is with your natal chart. That's pretty much the basis of all of it, is your natal chart. Your birth chart, basically. Beyond that, you can go to transit charts, solar return, synastry, so on. Synastry between you and someone else. And of course, you can do mundane astrology, which is just the general position of everything currently at any one given time. Not focusing on the individual, but primarily you're going to want to focus on the individual. So, to give you an idea of all this stuff, let's go to a sample birth chart. Now, This is a Western tropical astrology natal chart. And you'll see it's way more complicated than what these little, I'm just going to say, just for fun articles will lead you to believe. This stuff is real. It can be applied to your life to make your life better. But you can't just focus on, for example, this chart, the sun sign is Capricorn. That alone does not mean much. Now, you can have fun with that. You can do, you can make different articles, different comparisons just for fun, like Capricorns are like this, or Aries is like this, or Leo's like that. You can do that, but that alone is not very accurate. That is not going to help you very much at all. It's just about meaningless. Now, what can help you is when you start to realize, okay, the sun is your general core characteristics. It's your ego, your core self. It's in Capricorn, which is cardinal earth energy. It's a very natural, practical type of energy. And that means your ego is going to be of that nature. You are going to be very practical. Your ego, your core self will be. That in the 9th house, well, that's the house of higher learning, religion, philosophy, long distance travels. So this sun energy is going to be prominent in that area of your life. So now, let's go to the moon. There's moon sign. There's moon signs as well. Scorpio, stable, intuitive, emotional. So that stable, emotional, intuitive energy of Scorpio, well, the moon symbolizes your intuition, your emotions, your subconscious, your inner hidden self. So now the moon will take on those characteristics, and it's going to be in the 7th house, the house of partnerships, whether that be romantic, friendships, business partnerships. It's going to be prominent in that area of your life. We can look at Taurus is the rising sign. This is the horizon. This horizontal line right through here is the horizon. Over here is the western horizon. Over here is the eastern horizon. So Taurus is the rising sign, the sign that is coming up on the eastern horizon when this chart, this fictional person would have been born. I mean, there may be someone in the world born at this time and on this day. I don't know, but anyway, that's for this chart. That's the rising sign, Taurus. So that stable, some would say stubborn, energy, earthy energy, is going to be what others perceive them, how others perceive them, because that is what the rising sign is going to represent. It's your outer image, your image of self. And a lot of astrologers will say that combined with the sun sign will be the first impression that people get from you when they first meet you. But at a minimum, the rising sign energy will be what others will first perceive. Maybe the sun sign added to it, maybe not. So, and there's way more. There's the aspects. like this is a good aspect between Saturn and the Sun. Both Earth elements. That's a trine. Sun to Saturn's a trine. Saturn to Mercury there is a trine. Saturn's retrograde. That's not good. But you'll have that. So, as you can see, real astrology, this is real astrology. This is not a little newspaper clip or a little daily horoscope. This is real astrology. This is the stuff that will actually work. And the way this normally goes, you can learn it all yourself. But what a lot of people will probably do is start with a natal chart reading. They'll find someone who reads natal charts to interpret all of this, as I was just doing with the sun and the moon and the rising. They'll interpret everything on the chart and basically tell you what it all means and how it figures into your life. And the way that normally works, you will schedule an appointment for a certain time. You'll pay them however much they want to do your chart reading. And then they will study your chart, and at that scheduled time, they'll take probably an hour to an hour and a half and go over your chart with you so you understand your chart and what it all means for you specifically. Now beyond that, you can, if you want to like see future possibilities, like what could happen in the future, then you'll do a transit chart. You'll do a transit chart or solar return chart or any number of things. So, this is very beneficial. Astrology is very beneficial when used the proper way and not just picking one little thing out and saying this is how it has to be when you ignored everything else. That don't work. You have to take everything else into consideration. So, what to expect from all of this? Well, I know some people are probably going to be thinking, well, maybe I can find some hidden magical secret and I'm going to be rich and I'm going to be famous. Well, astrology don't work like that. You're probably not going to be rich and famous by learning some magical secret from your natal chart or from astrology in general. But what you can do is use this to make your life better, to chart a better path in life, to figure out a way to better accomplish the goals you want to get to in life, and perhaps take a totally different path in life than anything you would have ever dreamed. And I can go on and on. And I will say, and I actually had this experience, astrology, once you start learning this, and once you understand your natal chart, it may show you things that you don't want to accept about yourself. But once you do accept that, then you can learn how to make that part of your life better. You can learn, or you can make plans of how can I fix this? How can I do this differently? I don't like it. I finally accepted it. How can I do it differently? So I highly recommend learning at least enough of astrology to get a basic idea of your natal chart, your sun, moon, and rising sign. Because normally, like if I meet someone, I'll say, "What's your sun, moon, ascendant, or sun, moon, rising?" I'm a Taurus sun, Virgo moon, Aries ascendant. What are you? So I highly recommend learning this. Even if you don't get into detail, you can learn enough to where you can get a chart reading and know what's going on. So, one more thing I want to cover. Some people in the religious community may say that astrology is worshiping the hosts of heaven. Well, you're not worshiping the hosts of heaven any more than a geologist is worshiping a volcano by studying it, or a meteorologist is worshiping a tornado because they're studying it, or maybe they're worshiping the weather or something just because they're studying it. No. All you're doing is studying the positions of the planets, the sun, the moon, etc. It's being charted out, and you're interpreting what's likely to happen if you're doing predictions. Just like a meteorologist is going to predict the weather based off of meteorology and all of the scientific measurements and so on. Same with a geologist when it comes to, well, maybe this volcano is going to erupt based off of this data. Astrology is no different. Only God knows 100% what's going to happen. All astrology is doing is giving you likelihoods. What's likely, what's not likely. And if you are somehow knowing 100% what's going to happen, then you're doing something more than just astrology. So anyway, I just wanted to add that into this video. And anyway, I highly recommend learning astrology. Start with Western astrology. If you want to get really in depth, you can go learn everything else, all the other stuff that's out there. But for beginners, I would recommend, for most people, what you will probably want to do is start with Western astrology. You can go to many sites online, get your natal chart. You should have your birth time as well as your birth date. You need your birth time to the nearest, I would say, 2 or 3 minutes. If you really want to get accurate with your birth chart, if you really want to know the details, you need your exact birth time along with the day and that you were born, and of course you'll have to have your location. So anyway, I'm going to end this video, and thanks for watching. Peace.